Hey, what's up, everybody? You know, not fans, but subscribers and friends on the YT have been asking me to do this for a while. And as you can see by the title, you know what it is. You see, since I did Sonic's Love Life, the three on that one, they've been wanting me to do, actually four on that one. They've been wanting me to do something on some other characters, and they said, why not do Tails? So, I decided, what the heck, let's try it. So this is Tails' Love Life, and we're going to start out with this character. That's right, Fiona Fox. I know some of you might be a little surprised at the fact that she's also on Tails' list as she is on Sonic's. Well, let me explain. So for some of you that might be new to the comics, I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson. You see, way back around, I don't know, the 18, 20 issues or something like that, there was a backstory in 2 issues called Growing Pains, and it focused on Tails. And basically, Tails got fed up with being told what to do and not being able to go on some of the missions. So Tails decided that he was going to take his sub fox that I guess was given to him or something and go off on his own little adventure and prove everybody wrong. Well, he went to this little island in the sub stories, and basically what happened is he met up with this young female fox on the island who had been tied up to a tree there, rescued her, and fell in love with her as she did him. Now this female fox is the one that you see in this picture. But here's the thing, it's not exactly the same fox. Let me explain. You see, the Fiona Fox that fell in love with Tails and Tails falling in love with her was an animatronic created by Robotnik to capture Tails. Well, after Tails learned the truth about this, he fought the animatronic all the way into the river or into the ocean, to the point that as he was fighting the animatronic and she was about to deliver the final blow, she ended up rusting. So basically what happened is Tails was heartbroken, and while he was taking the rusted up animatronic of Fiona, and placed her on top of this little hill on the island, he noticed some kind of a letter, like a worksheet or note, if you will, that Robotnik had for plans for the Down Under. Now, basically, Tails at first decided whether thought he should contact and tell the Freedom Fighters, but then thought, well, wait a minute. This is an opportunity for me to prove to them I'm old enough and more capable enough than any of them, if not as them, to go on missions, so I'm going to do this on my own. And that's what Tails did. Tails went on this little adventure to the Down Under, and he met the Down Under Freedom Fighters, and I'll get into that in the next character I talk about. But anyway, getting back to Fiona. After this was all said and done, Fiona, believe it or not, ended up joining the Freedom Fighters. Now her joining the Freedom Fighters took place after 125, and basically during the time that Sonic was launched into space, supposedly sacrificing himself. And when Sonic got back, he noticed that Tails had fallen head over heels for the real Fiona, who, I guess at the time, had joined up with the Freedom Fighters. Though she wasn't officially a Freedom Fighter, she was still part of the team in some manner. Now, this is where it really gets a little confusing. You see, when Ken Penders was writing the book, he had wrote Fiona as a character that wanted to redeem herself as while being part of the Freedom Fighters and helping them out. And you could see a lot of those qualities, like how concerned she was over Sonic being hurt, just a lot of other things. And in one issue, I don't know what issue it was. I think it was 165, I believe. I don't know which it was. Tails was looking for Sonic, and as he looks and he finds Sonic, what he finds is something he doesn't like seeing, or he didn't really expect to see, involving his best friend, someone who's like a brother to him. And basically, what he saw was Sonic making out with Fiona, and this basically infuriated Tails. Basically, Tails was upset. He wanted to know why. Why? I mean, he basically got in Sonic's face until Fiona had to say, "Hey, look, whoa, time out. What are you talking about? What's going on?" And Tails basically had to finally tell Fiona how he felt. He basically had to tell her, "Look, I've liked you since the first day I laid eyes on your animatronic, and even though the real you is a few years older than me, I was still hoping that maybe we could have a connection." Now, Fiona, of course, understood this and told Tails as calmly as she could and as nicely as she could that, "Look, I like you, I really do, but it just wouldn't work out. You know, you're younger, I'm older, and I need someone that's more of my age, like Sonic." And of course, this upsets Tails to the point that he tells Sonic, "I hate you," and runs off in tears. Yes, well, Sonic thinks he's got to go after him, but she says, "No, Sonic, there's nothing really you can do right now. Just let him be, let him get over it." Now, at first, it looked like he might get over it, but of course, this kind of planted seeds for something later on. Something that the newer writer, the current writer, Ian Flynn, would work on. Ian Flynn, basically, when he came in, did an overhaul on Fiona. Now, it looked like Fiona was still going to be part of the team, but then Ian started to throw in things that really didn't make any sense. All of a sudden, she was disappearing. Nobody knew where she was, or anything, until finally, the truth is revealed that the reason Fiona has been taking off and disappearing is because she is with Scourge. Now, of course, Tails is upset about this, as is Sonic, finding out that Fiona is now a traitor. And basically, by doing this, according to many fans and readers, Ian basically took what Ken did and threw it away and provided his own backstory and reasoning for why Fiona did what she did. Now, after this took place, and after Bunny and Antoine are wed, and after the 175th anniversary issue three-part story arc, if you will, where we saw a little bit of tension between Sonic and Tails in 176, in the issues 178 and most importantly in 179, we really start to see that tension between Tails and Sonic grow. To the point that in issue 179, we start seeing them fight. Well, it begins at the end of 178. The fight between Tails and Sonic begins at the end of 178 when Tails kind of punches and sneak attacks Sonic from behind, ambushes him, if you will. So, basically in 179, we see him fighting throughout most of the issue, and Sonic's trying to figure out what is with you. Why won't you let me do the right thing? Why won't you let me, stop your father from making a fatal mistake? Why don't want you want? And Tails says he doesn't want to listen to it. And while they're fighting, Sonic says a line like, "You're basically taking everything I've done for you, I've done to help you, and you're throwing it away." And in saying that particular line or something to that magnitude, Tails finally breaks down in tears. Well, not break down in tears, but literally breaks down in anger, if you will, with tears coming out of his eyes when he hears this and saying, "So you basically answering Sonic by saying, so you basically went out with Fiona to help me?" Basically throwing out the fact that, "Oh yeah, Sonic helped me," basically saying, "Oh yeah, you helped me a lot, and going out with the woman I care about, the woman I love, is helping me." And this is what really got Sonic and this is where it really came out. Because basically here we see Tails now breaking down and everything, swinging wildly at Sonic, saying, because Sonic, basically was shocked to hear, "Is that what this is about? Is she why you're so angry at me? Is she the reason you've had this tension against me?" And basically, Tails, is just swinging about wildly at him, saying, "Hey, don't you tell me stuff like that. You knew I loved her from the moment I saw her, and for you to go out with her, how dare you do that?" Basically, Tails was upset, if you will. Tails was upset at Sonic for basically taking this woman away from him, even though now she's a traitor. So, anyway, to make a long story short, even before this, Tails kind of has like a little thing about, him and Fiona could have gone down the aisle, and that was in 174. He said that. But overall, make a long story short, he's sort of gotten over it now, even though she tried to manipulate him in Sonic Universe 15. But like I said, he's basically getting over it now, and he's moved on. And there's other women that are interested in him as well. So we'll get into the next one next. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the continuation of Tails' love life. And I'm sorry I ended the Fiona thing real quickly, but like I said, he's basically now getting over her. But now let's take a look at another character that Tails had a crush on, and believe it or not, she felt the same way about him. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Bobbie Koala. That's right. Now, Bobbie Koala was introduced in the Tails miniseries as part of the Down Under Freedom Fighters. And she, along with Tails, in the final issue of the miniseries, were one of the main reasons that they helped save her teammates, her fellow freedom fighters. Now, I don't know what issue it was. I think it was issue 60 something. It was 67, I believe, or 62. I can't really. It was in the 60s. It was the 60 issues. It was in the issues that were in the 60s, if you will. Not the 1960s, but you get what I'm saying. The 60th issues, let's put it that way. It was in the. I can't think of the number right now. I think it was 61 or 62 or 63. I can't really remember. It was around that area. Sonic and Tails, during the world tour, goes down to the Down Under Freedom Fighters, goes down to Down Under because they, I guess they heard something there, and they heard a distress call or something. They go down under, and they're greeted by the Down Under Freedom Fighters. Well, at least two of them, Walt Wallaby and Bobbie Koala. And how does Bobbie greet Tails? Well, let's put it to you like this. She kisses him on the cheek, and I don't just mean like a little peck on the cheek saying, "Hey, how you doing?" She lifts him up. It's in this panel. She lifts him up, and you can see this in some of the videos I've done. She lifts him up and kisses him, puts her, I think, her left leg up, just like any girl does when they show affection and sort of like, I guess, a love for that character. And throughout most of the arc, gets it. I mean, not most of the arc, but through most of the issue, after she kisses him, and then they go off to save the other Down Under Freedom Fighters from the from the captive. As they're doing it, as they're going to do this, she holds on to Tails' hand and says, "Yeah, come on, let's go, Tails." And then after that, when they're riding on a raft down a river, she tells Tails, "Be careful of the moss, of the hanging moss." And then at the end of it, she blows Tails a kiss. At the end of the issue, she blows Tails a kiss, saying, "I'll miss you," very sweetly. And a lot of people have been wondering what this is about. Why would she do this if she's older? Now, some fans could probably understand with, Ken Penders being the writer that perhaps it's the best thing. Perhaps this is probably the only character, Tails could fall in love with. And this has been debated a lot by fans, including Ian Flynn, who, as a fan, read this himself. Now, as a fan, he read this, And then as the current writer, he decided he was going to fix it. And how does he fix this? Well, basically he tells the fans who ask about it, hey, as long as I'm writing this book, there's no tails, there's no tails Bobbery pairing. There's none of that. And you think to yourself, well, wait a minute. She shows affections to him. Sonic basically has told Tails that she digs him. And Tails tells Sonic he hopes to see her again. And now Ian Flynn, and I mentioned this with Fiona, again decides to take what was being built and throw it away. Now, I guess by doing this, he's kind of showed some hints that maybe there's some affection or something like that, or attraction or relationship between Duckbill and Bobbery. But other fans are dismissing it as maybe it's the fact that, you know, they've been teammates. Maybe they grew up together or something. I don't know. But basically, Ian Flynn has said as long as he's on the book, this Tails Bobbery pairing, shipping, doesn't exist. But a lot of fans will agree that if Ken Penders or even Carl Bowles was on the book, it'd be totally different. But yeah, this whole thing with Fiona started basically with the miniseries and was blossomed on, if you will, in the Sonic World Tour story arc that went from the issue 49 to issue 68, I believe, or 69. Well, not 49, but issue 54 to issue 69. And that's how, like I said, this whole Tails Bobbery thing got started. And that's one of the potential love interests in Tails' life, is Bobbie Koala. And like I said, a writer like Ian Flynn, he looks at it and says, you know, that's never going to be as long as I'm on the book. And as long as I'm on the book, there's no Tails Bobbery pairing. But, you know what, as far as fans are concerned, they'll kind of split 50-50 on it. But for those that have been with the book a long time, I can tell you this. To them, there is a potential Tails Bobbery connection and relationship, whether the current writer wants to hear it or not. But then again, there are some long-time readers that are actually glad it might not happen anymore. But we'll have to see. But up next, I'm going to talk about a character that I talked about as well in the Sonic Love Life. In fact, she was the latest character I did in the Sonic Love Life series. And here in the Tails Love Life series, it may come as a surprise, it may not. Next up, Mina Mongoose. Alright, welcome back. As we look at the third female in in the young love life of Tails, I should say. Miles Tails Prower, that is. And this one we're going to look at, believe it or not, this may come as a shock to some of you that haven't followed the book that long. And for some of you that have, it may not, because she was featured as his potential love interest, if not as his wife, in the Mobius Years Later saga. I'm talking about none other than Mina Mongoose. Now, Mina Mongoose, I know this may come as a surprise to a lot of people, but it's true. When Ken Penders was on the book, he was the one that originally wrote Mobius Years Later. And one of the things he did, and some people say it was either as an inside joke or not, but one of the things he did is, I guess is an inside joke, is he decided to pair Tails off with Mina Mongoose. Now, you know, some people wondered why this happened. I mean, some people feel as though Mina Mongoose is the last person Tails should be paired with because she's older. But let's not forget, in my previous talk, Tails and Bobbery have a connection. Okay? So anyway, as an inside joke, he decided to put Mina and Tails together as a couple, as a husband and wife, and they have kids. And to probably further this even more, there was one issue where Tails is running after Mina, sort of like in a race, where she's running off, I guess testing her new speed, and he says, I'll beat you, you know, kind of deal, like, I'll beat you first, you know, I'll beat you to the finish line first kind of deal. So, I guess that's where Ken Pendergast probably got the idea, was from that one little panel. But anyway, this little joke, if you will, continued on even when Ian Flynn took over and did his own reversion. Uh, Not only his own reversion, but his own reversion of the Mobius years later. And Ian said that the Mina Tails thing in years later, in Mobius years later, was not definite and probably would not happen because Mina is with Ash Mongoose currently. But not to say it wouldn't happen. But of course, Ian Flynn has gone on to say, along with Carl Bollers and Justin Gaber, that Ken Pender's depiction of the future for the characters is not the definite future. It's not the definite future, but it's a possible future. And according to some people, I guess, that are close to Pender's and are close to the comic book industry and fans themselves, they say it's the most logical future. But even Ian Flynn says, yeah, it's the most logical, but it's still a possible. So anyway, the whole thing with Mina continued on in years later when Ian Flynn took it over and did a continuation of it in the 130s issues, I believe. And then after that, did a continuation or conclusion of it as the second story arc to the Sonic Universe comic book. So anyway, and the funny thing about this is I think he did an off panel at the end of the final issue of the Sonic Universe running of Mobius issues later, where Tails looked at the Universe comic and was shocked to find out that he was married to Mina, only to have Ash Mongoose come up to him and basically Tails saying, "Oh, you read the same thing, huh?" You know. But anyway, that is one of the potential love interests in here, and that's why Mina is part of Tails' love life series here, because of what was put in Mobius years later. Now again, even though some people feel as though it's not the future, it's still a possible future. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. And just going to leave it up to you fans to figure it out for yourself. And next up, I'm going to talk about a new character that's come into play. Little Fox. Or Little Moon is her name. Alright, here we are finishing off the Tails Love Life series. And we're going to talk about a new little character that's come into play, even though she appeared, I think, in only one issue so far of the Sonic Universe, the Journey to the East story arc. And her name is, as you can see, she is known as Little Moon. Now, Little Moon, we don't know much about her, but apparently there's an attraction between her and Tails. Apparently, as she kind of acts the way she does towards Tails, you have to read, I believe, Sonic Universe issue 13 to get all the facts on that. But she's a new little character. There's not much known about her, and if anybody does know any more about her, let us know. But apparently, like I said, there seems to be a bit of an attraction between her and Tails. I mean, when she offers Tails, in fact, when the first person she offers more tea to, if you will, more tea to, is Tails. I mean, instead of going to Sally, who's the princess, if you will, and offering and saying, "Can I get you some more tea, Your Majesty?" Or to Monkey Kong saying, "Can I get the King of the Free People more tea?" Or "Can I get the hero of Mobius more tea?" Instead, she goes to Tails first and asks if he wants more tea. And he blushes when he says, "Sure, thank you." So, anyway, not much is known about Little Moon, except the fact that she's kind of a new player in the field of Tails' love life, and there might be more potential for her if fans want to see more of her. I mean, when you think about it, it looks like she's about Tails' age, so that might work out in a way, if they want to work with her more. But then again, we've seen this happen before many times. But then again, we don't know what Ian has planned. We don't know what Ian has planned as far as Tails' love life goes. He might have things planned for other people's love lives, other characters' love lives in the book, but we don't know about Tails. And Little Moon might have the most potential right now, seeing as though she looks like she could be the same age as Tails, maybe a bit older, but we don't know. And that's the intrigue about this. This is a new character. We don't know much about her, and if anybody does know more about her, they should let us know. But it's just something to look into. It's just something to look into and kind of intrigue and think about. And that's all I'm going to say about Little Moon, because like I said, there's not much known about her. And again, if anybody does know any more about her, let us know. And that's going to wrap up the whole Tails love life deal. If you got anybody else you think should be in Tails love life or you think is a part of it, let me know. I'll try to probably talk about it as best I can. And thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you later.